The Yakovlev Yak-40 was a true short-haul jet pioneer. The Yak-40 is also a story of human achievement and invention. It is an example of how human beings from different places can do different things but reach the same outcome. A plane that for almost 60 years is still in the sky. It's also a story of how skill of the past has been kept alive. I love planes and I'm curious about Soviet era planes. Too often, when we live within our bubble and what we're familiar with, we can be quite judgmental about the efforts of others and their ways that we do not understand. For the Yak-40, the first thing that we notice is the fact that you board the aircraft from the back. This is really quite unique and innovative for its time. In the early 1960s, the Soviet Union needed a small, rugged jet airliner for short routes, especially to replace older propeller aircraft like the Ilyushin 1-4 on domestic flights. Airports in many parts of the USSR had very basic infrastructure, short, often unpaved runways, so the aircraft had to be tough. The Yakovlev Design Bureau, led by Alexander Yakovlev, began designing the Yak-40 around 1964. Its main features were a tri-jet configuration, 3 engines, the Ivchenko AI-25 turbofan mounted on the rear fuselage, a T-tail high-mounted horizontal stabilizers to stay clear of runway debris, simple avionics so it could operate from poorly equipped airfields, built-in airstairs, no need for external boarding equipment, really important in these poorly equipped airfields, and capacity was typically 27 to 32 passengers. The Yak-40 flew its first flight on 21st October 1966. The aircraft entered service with Aeroflot in 1968, and it quickly became the backbone of regional air travel across the Soviet Union. The Yak-40 was the first Soviet jet to be widely exported. It was sold to over 20 countries, especially in Eastern Europe, Asia, and Africa. Some Western airlines and companies such as Italy's Air Mediterranee and West German companies also used the Yak-40. From 1967 to 1981, around 1,011 Yak-40 were built at the Saratov aviation plant. There were also special variants that appeared, including the VIP transport version, a survey and calibration aircraft, a Yak-40K convertible for passenger or cargo, military versions used by air forces, communications, staff transport. Although now mostly retired from major airlines, the Yak-40 remains famous for being simple, rugged, reliable, perfectly designed for the Soviet conditions of its time. A few Yak-40 are still in use today in Russia, Central Asia, and Africa. So to recap, what I like about the Yak-40, it's a unique plane. It's rough, sturdy, and where will you find a plane that you can enter using stairs on the back? Let's admit that this is pretty cool. Also, it's a tri-star, which is very uncommon these days. As a regional jet, it is small and can land anywhere. The Soviet tendency was to build sturdy planes, and this is quite admirable. Finally, in the cockpit, we can see that the yoke, even though the yoke is very much centered, the pedestal is very much to the left, which is really unusual. It also has steam gauges, which in this era looks very much retro. Anyway, if you've come to the end of this video, thank you very much for watching. If you haven't already subscribed, please consider doing so, as this would help to grow the channel. See you next time. Goodbye.